So we are going to do a continuation. Sorry, you guys have to see me again this week, but I promise I'll get Chirag back. So today we're going to continue on with KPIs of money. Hopefully last week you guys all had a chance to fill out your dashboards. Thumbs up if we did that. Yes. Okay, cool. So we're going to continue on. Now that you have that filled out, we're actually going to go through how to do keep it or cut it. We'll do a little bit, do a few examples. I'll open up the chat for you guys to ask me kind of on like in a live setting. I can answer them hopefully for you. But really I want to, and a lot of what we try to do here, and especially what I try to do with my clients, many of you have coached one-on-one with me, I really want to teach you exactly what's in my mind. People always ask like, how do you, think through these things? That's what I want to share with everybody to empower them to be able to do the exact same thing. So it's great. And I love that everybody shows up here, but I really want to give you tangible steps to take so that when you're not on a coaching session, you know exactly what move you want to make in that aspect. So before I get into that, I would love to hear if we can open up the chat just for a few minutes, then we can close it again. What were some takeaways that you guys had when filling out the dashboard? So I can get a gauge of where you guys are. Spent way too much money. Okay. That's where the nausea aspect, remember I was talking about that? That's where that starts to kick in. Ditto, wake up call to expenses. Okay. Do either one of you want to elaborate on what you were spending too much money on? More on like the business side of things. Mine is like Saks Fifth Avenue. Like I don't need to share that with everybody, but. All right, type it into the chat if you guys wasting money and time on nonsense. So give me like some examples of what these are. I'm always so curious. I think it's very helpful for a lot of us to kind of see that as we're thinking through the keep it or cut it today. A lot of gifts and meals. Okay, awareness. Starbucks, that's a big one. My mom's from Belgium, so she always made me make my coffee at home. So I don't have that problem, but that's only one of the problems I don't have. Over budget on personal expenses, apps and subscriptions, very expensive dog food. If anyone else saw the Farmer's Dog commercial, Greta is a culprit to that. Okay. Cool. So this is helpful just for me to get an idea of like what these expenses are. I see a few things in there about lead gen. I'll talk about that. I'll use that as a big example today. But I'm happy that that was helpful and it was eye-opening for you. But I can also assume that a lot of you probably see expenses in there, but you're just not sure, especially in a market and this kind of atmosphere, is now really the time to cut? And you guys can drop in the chat too if like you kind of feel that way. But even I have felt that way too. And I know a lot of my clients have as well. So really understanding what do you need to keep in there and understanding, did I give it enough time for it to really do what I wanted it to do? Or did I not really set a goal for that investment ever? So how do I even know, or how do I measure the success of what I was investing in? So those are the types of things I want to teach you guys today, just to think through. It's not rocket science. You guys can do it. It takes, and I said this morning too, it takes you to drop the entire ego side of it and put it aside, do a really good self-audit on yourself and just say, you know what? Has it been working? And have I been doing everything to make it work? Because we're so quick to blame companies and I see this all the time. Oh, this lead generation site sucks, blah, blah, whatever. Maybe yes, but also what could we have done better? And that's what I like to focus on a lot. And that's, I think, the side of becoming very coachable, which is kind of like a newer thing in I think brokerage in general. So you have to be vulnerable, I guess, is what I'm trying to say in this setting. So keep that all in mind when we're going through this. So let me share my deck, and then we're going to spend a lot of time in the action steps today as well. Okay. All right, so financial mastery. You guys at this point, and if you didn't come to last week's sessions, no problem, go back in, please watch the recording and take care of your financial dashboards so that this session might make more sense after that. That's what you're supposed to do last week. If you don't know what I'm talking about at all, this was it, but this is what it should have looked like. So you guys, I think really now you can start focusing more on this financial dashboard side of it. I've been getting this question a few times too, is how often should you be going in here? I would say check in once a month. But if you, at the least, I would definitely do once a quarter. I had a comment from this morning from somebody saying, they don't realize it until December. Well, let's try to catch it a little bit earlier than giving something 12 months that you have to pay for and also to linger on without fixing that broken piece in the machine. So there's really 4 main areas, and I'm sure you guys saw this. This is not to be confused with the core 4. This is 4 core areas, but they should be aligning with your core 4. So you really have these 4 categories: marketing, branding, lead gen, and coaching. So most of the expenses that you guys were putting in there probably fall under one of these categories, and I'll go more in depth in them in the action steps. And then we kind of have come up, and Chirag has, used this with me for a while, but it's this have I, can I, will I kind of approach to, I kind of run my life with what Chirag tells me to do, but I do this in so many different aspects of my life now. Is really ultimately the question you're asking yourself is, do you have space to take on this investment, take on this time commitment, and do it the right way? That's what this is asking you. So have I invested the time to make, this is for a past expense, so something you may have found in your dashboard. Have you invested the time to make what you're spending money on work most effectively? That's like that self-audit part of it. Can you make the time to make what you're spending money on work most effectively? So do you have that space in your calendar, but also mentally? Sometimes we just have a lot going on. Do you have the space to take something on right now? And then will I? This is like the gym example. Yes, you can. Are you going to go? That's the question you're asking yourself. So can you really commit to, even though you have the time, can you really see yourself committing to doing everything possible to make whatever you're about to invest in feasible? And this is when I say the ego has to go out the window, because when everyone asks me, I'm like one of the most competitive people. I think we'd all say that about ourselves. If someone's like, oh, Kate, will you go to the gym 7 times a week? I'll be like, of course I'll go to the gym 7 times a week. I've missed the last 4 days. Okay. So I think my bar instructor thinks I'm dead. So you have to be really honest with yourself here. Do you actually have space to take on whatever you're about to take on? Something else I want to talk about right now, and I think all of us can agree the market is a little crazy. So what happens when we all get frantic and when things are not going in the way that we all saw them, or we all prepared ourselves for? We have like this unknown kind of just space around us. I think a lot of people turn to these lead generation sites or whatever it is, whatever investment. You're just looking for the magic pill essentially in this, when ultimately there isn't always going to be one. So I think being able to have this mindset around it, staying calm, being honest with the expenses you've already made, going back, looking at what you've invested in past markets, going back through that. That's where I would focus now, but I wouldn't start to just go and buy everything you can looking for this magic sauce that could fix all this. You just got to kind of ride the wave. So let's take a few examples. This is probably one that we can all relate to. These are real examples from either myself or my coaching clients. So the investment was a lead generation monthly subscription, about $3,000 a month. I think he had done it for like 5-6 months, something like that. Gained 50 leads, but no conversion. So no sales happened from that. I actually don't think really many of them even translated into even showing or offers. So ask yourself the questions. Have I? No, I've not followed up with the leads that have come through as much as I should have. That's very realistic. Those, we've all probably at one point gone through these lead gen sites. The push notification comes through, it's not at the right time, so you don't really do what you're supposed to do on that, and you have to be really quick on those. So being honest with yourself there. No, he didn't do everything he could have. Can I? Yes. Everybody can make a time block each day to go through the app and follow up the leads that come through. You can sharpen your skills, your conversion skills. You can role play. You can do a lot of these things. And then you have the will I. And this is when it really came out. Honestly, I've been saying I would do this for 6 months, and somehow something always gets in the way. So I don't know if I really enjoy online leads. Great. Thanks so much for sharing that with me. Just because other people do this does not mean it has to be a part of you. So take lead gen for an example here, but take anything that you're doing in your business. If you don't, I was saying this morning too, like I get up every day and there's like some crazy clients and it bothers me, not my coaching clients, my real estate clients. And that's frustrating. Like that's a tough day, but for the most part, I really enjoy what I do. And I enjoy the business plan I've set up surrounding my core 4, because it's surrounded by things that I want to do. Even though I'm pretty good at converting online leads, it's not something that I felt was really what would make me happy doing all day long, having to make sure that I was right on top of these to make sure that my investment got me to where my goal was for that. So really start to think about too in there with any of the expenses that you have. You don't have to force yourself to make it work if it's not something that you enjoy. So obviously I told him to cut it. Sorry. Next one, a print ad. So the cost is $1,000 a month. It's like in a magazine, no leads gained. Okay. So I'll go through the have I, can I, will I, and then I'll give you another tidbit on it. So have I? No, the ad had not been updated for over 6 months. So it had basically been the same. I hate to call it sterile, but it was kind of like a sterile ad, like a modern approach to real estate. Like if we all said that, I'm like, okay, I think we all have an ad like that somewhere. So, which is fine. I don't mind you having a modern approach to real estate, but why don't we put a little bit of like a blurb in the corner every single month talking about how the market keeps fluctuating and talking, like I called it this morning, like a Kate's Corner. That's what I would do. And this way, every single month, since the market is so fluid right now, you're able to have your take on that so that your ad from December and now your ad from February are probably going to say pretty much polar opposite things, at least it would in my market. So that's what I would suggest to do for this person. Can you? Yes, I can set a date with marketing or hire someone out to design the ad for me. I could change the ad each month to reflect what's going on in the market. And will I? It was a yes, because this is not something that had to be added into the calendar daily. You can make the time once a month to build out the ad. So this would be something that I would say keep it. So this is how you want to kind of think about things. Is this resonating with people? Is this like an easier way to think about it? And out of the 161 of you, I have 4 people on the side of my screen. So it all lies in your hands. And I'll tell you, I don't even know I can't even see the names, but you guys keep shaking your heads for me. So obviously I said to go ahead and keep it. They had the space for it. They were able to make improvements make improvements that they could really commit to. And then creating profitability. So this is like the goal setting aspect of it. Probably been a couple months since we've all really talked about our goals. I think the market has been a little bit crazy for us to, I don't want to say stick to our business plans, but I think everything just advanced much earlier than a lot of us were anticipating. So take this time to really go back in, set a goal for any of these investments that you're making, set professional, set personal goals, but especially surrounding the investments. This way, you know what you're trying to achieve with that. If you have no goal and you're just investing, then you could end up cutting an expense that actually could have panned out really, really well. You just weren't patient enough. But if you feel disappointed after 3 months or let's say 6 months, because you didn't get a lead from a print ad, was that the goal? Was the goal to get a lead? Then yeah, okay, maybe we need to, think about cutting it. That example actually happens to be something from me. And for me, with this print ad in a local magazine, I'm not trying to get leads right away. It's called like direct ROI. I'm not trying to get that. I'm more playing the longer game with that and just trying to create brand awareness so that in 3 years from now, I can start getting leads, or in 2 years from now, I can start getting leads. I'm not saying that has to be for everybody. That just happens to be my outlook on this specific investment. So in 6 months, I'm not going to feel defeated. I'm not going to feel like I made a bad investment because my goal was aligned. So I'm, if I just start getting calls, or if I'm passing by, oh, I think you're Kate Bauer from, the whatever magazine, I'd say, oh yeah, that is me. Oh, I love your Kate's Corner in there. I love the blurb. Great. Check. Great investment for me. So these goals that you associate with any of these investments is very important, and tracking your success with any of these investments is even more so important. So that is it for the deck, and then I'll head over to the action steps. First, any questions? I know that could be a lot. Maybe we could open up the chat, or someone can share. Chat remains open. Okay. Any questions here? Any concerns with like going through this, or does this kind of resonate with everybody? I believe in all of you. Yes, show the core for it. I'll go through this right now. The marketing branding, I'm going to go through that now. So let me pop that up. Okay, so these are action steps. You guys will obviously get this. It's already in the platform. This is where we're going to spend a little bit more time. It goes over what I just said, but I wanted to dive a little bit further into this 4 core areas of investment. Again, not to be confused with the core 4, but ultimately they should be aligning here. So if you have a core 4 of past clients, online leads, whatever, everything else should be from a marketing, branding, and lead gen and coaching, like all that should kind of be surrounded by that core 4. So these should be tying together here. So when we get into marketing, there are different types of marketing, from advertising your client's property, mailers, print ads, a whole bunch of things. When you're investing in marketing, like I said before, you want to be very clear about the desired, what the desired outcome of the investment is. And there is a clear distinction between lead generation marketing, personal branding, and property marketing. Make sure that that's not getting all jumbled together in your head. Because I think also sometimes people say, oh no, I definitely market myself, but really you're marketing through your property. So it's different than that brand aspect. Marketing properties and personal branding are examples of non-direct ROI marketing. So this is where the success of your investment should not be quantified transactionally, because it's really hard to know exactly what came from what. And these marketing types go towards a larger goal of brand and type of service that you offer to your clients. Moving into branding, this could be social media, billboards, social ads that share your brand, sponsorships, creating content videos, all that good stuff. The goal of branding is, again, to get your name out there and build brand equity in your personal name, team name, or a combination. Again, not a direct ROI investment, very hard to track. Lead generation, this is the opposite. This is what you should be tracking. So this is a direct ROI investment. From online leads to paid social ads, these are investments you will want to track all the metrics for. What success looks like in this area is that you understand for every dollar you invest, how much are you getting back? And for every lead generation investment, you need to invest for a period of time, for a long enough period of time to essentially have that sample size. So that's, again, what I was talking about, not cutting things too early before they actually had a chance to blow up and really actually work out. I see this all the time. People, I'm like, should I cut it? I'm like, well, again, go through your questions. If you can't commit to what I'm about to tell you, then yeah, cut it, because I can't do the work for you. But if you can really commit to it and you have, a good framework of how you want to get to that goal, definitely keep it, just give it enough time. When investing in lead generation, be prepared to track all the metrics, not just to calculate your ROI, but also evaluate the process so you can continue to improve your efforts and maximize your conversions. So with that, lead gen is not just about answering it online. Could be role playing that needs to be a time block in your calendar. It could be creating content so that you can actually, like when I've done lead gen with online leads, you really have to think about like having this content prepared so that you don't really have to be converting these people. And if it's on the phone, yes, a little bit, but being able to have these follow-up not scripts, but if you like anything like a buyer's guide or closing costs or anything like that, like I have this huge packet that basically does the conversion for me. So those are the types of things that you need to make sure that you're also investing in to make sure that that lead gen in general is going to work for your online leads. So those are the types of things that you want to be doing during that self-audit, is not just thinking the easy, how am I converting over emailing, how quick am I responding, but really what else makes up the investment? What are the other pieces to the puzzle to make this really successful? And that's also part of what you need to commit to. And then we have coaching. Coaching is has one of the greatest ROIs out of any investment for yourself, of course. But this one's easy. For us, it's like if you have one sale at a $500,000 price point, 2.5% commission, you get 250% to 300% ROI. It's a no-brainer. But you also want to think that there's a non-direct part of this. So I was talking about it this morning too. Like Martha Knapp, like she's on every single one of these sessions, and that's why we always call you out, because you're always here creating such a great community. Those are the same things that you guys should be doing. So again, thinking about it in a grander scheme, how can I basically like wring out this investment to get the most possible out of it? That's if you get one more sale. That could be from hearing one of our scripts. That could be from getting a referral from one of our referral partners. One sale and you get almost 300% ROI. Imagine if you were to utilize every single session, not miss a session, actually make time in your calendar to go in and implement. Connect with CSC agents that are in here. Those types of things is how you maximize your investment. So use that example when you're thinking about any other investment you want to make, really committing to the whole process. And then down here, we go right back through. So we can go through this example quick, and then I'll let you guys kind of open up the chat for me. So this is again for lead gen with online leads. Have I invested the time to make what I'm investing money in work the most? If you're investing in the online leads, have you invested the time into role-playing objections, like I was talking about, to ensure you're able to convert the most leads and answer any objection with confidence? Can you make the time? So this is where you're looking at your schedule, see if you have the space to be time blocking all the practicing of the skills, if you will, in there. And then will you make the time? That's that honesty part. So do you actually see yourself wanting to do this? Is this enjoyable to you? And what have you done in the past? So think back to, have I committed to this in the past? What tends to be like my track record essentially with this type of investment? And that's pretty much it. I know I had to go a little bit quickly because I'm just trying to be mindful of the time, but you guys will have all of this in your action steps if you get lost. And I highly recommend basically going back through your dashboard. If you didn't fill it out, do that first. If you did, go back through, highlight those investments that you're questioning, and then go through this process and really try it out, asking yourself all these questions. And then if you end up wanting to keep something in there that maybe wasn't working out, but you want to do better, set that goal, set the expectation of what you'd like to see out of the investment, and then really be able to set up, I don't want to call it a business plan, but it almost is, like, just for that investment to be able to work out. So why hasn't it worked out in the past? What do you need to do? Create those time blocks in your calendar, commit to that with yourself, with your team, with an accountability partner, whatever it is. And I think you guys will see a lot of success. I've done this before, pretty much asking myself all these questions. Like at the beginning, I always talk about when we were trying to scale our team and just grow it as much as we could, I was throwing everything at the wall, but that was because I'd never tried anything before. I was also like fresh out of diapers, as we all know. So I needed to try a few things. So once I figured out like, okay, what seems to be working? What do I enjoy? That's when I started to create this whole framework surrounding each investment. So I could make sure when I was investing a ton of money that I didn't really have at the time. Okay, use the example of a gym. When I was like 17, I was going to Equinox, but that was $200 a month. So I made sure I went every single day. I'd double up on classes because I knew it was like $6.30 every time I went. So, and I really couldn't afford it. So I was like, this is how I'm going to have to make it worth it. And I've always taken that kind of thing with me, like that mindset into any investment I make. If I'm committing to it, I'm going to do it 110%. And then if it doesn't work out, if I don't get the results, I know that I've done every possible thing that's in my control to make it work. And that's when you cut it. So that's how you want to start to think about these things. All right. So you have like 5 minutes. Hopefully I have enough time. Ask me any questions, keep it or cut it questions, any expenses you guys have. Okay, Compass suggested a personal website, which I have, and it's about $2,700 a year. I have had the website for 3 years with no direct leads. What are my thoughts on this? I think you have to go back through and maybe talk to the company and see, like, you must be paying for some kind of SEO and talk to them about it. But if you're not getting anything, then I would probably say cut it. I actually had a similar experience. So now we just keep our website for like the brand and the aesthetics of it. But I think that only costs us, I don't know, like $80 a month. Maybe it's like, I think we pay in full, like $1,000 a year, something like that. So you need to go in and see it. To me, I would probably say cut it if you're not getting anything. I use luxury presents for my website. Is there a suggested percent of income that should be spent on these core areas? I think it really depends on you. And I think I don't really like to give like a blanket statement for that because I think it really depends on your situation. I think just personally for me, when we were scaling, and I mean, we're still scaling the business, I probably reinvest like 20 to 25% of every check back into the business. I'm also in like a major scaling mode. I'm also a huge risk taker. So don't go off of me. My fiance would say, please don't do that much. Okay. Do I ever have trouble deciphering where my clients and my leads come from? Do you ask clients directly? Yeah, I actually do, because it's not very common that I don't know where somebody comes from. But there have definitely been a few clients who have just like randomly, it felt like fallen out of the sky. And I'm like, if you don't mind me asking, like a few showings in, don't say this on the first call, obviously. But I'm like, how did you ever find me? And sometimes it's just like from a website, they just came across it. Okay. Do I have a recommendation on how to split my commission check, taxes, business expenses, savings? Yes, I do. Hire a fabulous accountant who can handle all of that, because it's not my thing. The way I was doing it didn't make a lot of sense. So he's helped me out. I use Joe Wilson, who's also an expert mentor on here. He's incredible. And I really don't know exactly what he's saying to me, but I'm like, Joe, go for it. Here's the money. So hire someone who really knows what they're doing, because there's so many different S Corp, whatever, LLCs. Okay. Yeah, I'm not an accountant. Sorry. I'm just 23-year-old trying to make it through, guys. That's it. Okay. No other questions. Do I keep it or cut it? I'm shocked. You guys didn't see anything in there that you're like, should I keep it or not? Okay. Well, then I'm happy I took the time I did. Okay. Last call for any keep it or cut it. No? Okay. That's it. You guys are going to get Chirag back then. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. I hope this makes a lot of sense. Please, please, please make some time in your calendar to go through these, practice going through it. It'll also be a really good framework for you to use, not just in expenses. This have I, can I, will I has basically been, who do I allow into my life? What tasks do I say yes to? I'm such a yes person. So really think about that before creating space for anything in your life, honestly. All right. Well, thank you guys. It's good to see all of you. Have a lovely afternoon, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, guys.